All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Weather's getting warmer, so I figured we switch it up and do some soccer interviews. Today, I have a junior defender from Middletown South, Meghan Carragher. Megan, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Weather's getting warmer. I'm sure club soccer has started. How's it feel to be back on the field?
It feels so great. My season just started at PDA and we're just getting at it.
Now you're at PDA North, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. We'll talk a little bit. We'll talk about like your club teams in a little bit. First, I want to ask now. You're at Middletown High School, Middletown South, and we all know all the issues that happened with COVID during the soccer season. But I want to rewind to last year. How did you find that adjustment? When you were in school one day and then the next day, your virtual learning.
I mean, it was difficult. Like we first originally thought that we were going to be out for 2 weeks and like we'd be back. Like no one could have ever predicted like we'd be out for this long. It's been a year already. I think like public schools, especially like the teachers had a difficult time transitioning versus like the private schools. I feel like they had it a lot easier. I don't know, like we kind of everyone just did their best. It was new. Like no one knew like what it was going to be like. So
Yeah, I found it odd that, when I started doing these player interviews was right when, COVID and everything was shutting down, that every school district was different. There was no unity, and I understand the privates are going to be different because they don't really report to anybody in the state, but you would think the state would have came down with some like uniform plan for all the public schools, but every school was different. Now, Middletown, did you have to go like on Google Meets and Zoom at certain times, or did they just give you assignments and say go with it?
yeah, they introduced Google Meets to us, but they weren't mandatory. So
Okay.
basically, they posted either like a question of the day, which marked your attendance, and then that was it, or like put an assignment on, and you had to finish it by 12 a.m.
Okay. Um, as is pluses and negatives, positives and negatives. It gives you good understanding of time manager for when you get to college. After next year. So a lot
Yeah.
of players, they serve both ways. But to me, it's a good learning experience, especially throwing kids your age such a curveball, that nobody ever expected, and all of you handle it, great. Um, how did at first with the train, because nobody was allowed to be near anyone. How did soccer's a little tougher. I mean, you do dribbling drills and stuff, but how did you stay like in shape and working on your skills, when you weren't supposed to be working with anybody and isolated?
Yeah, so in the springtime, obviously, I was supposed to have like my PDA season kickoff, but then COVID happened, so we all got shut down. But my club coach really made it a priority to keep us all fit. Like he gave us like workouts to do, like on our own and stuff. And like I think during quarantine, everyone just wanted to stay active. Like we had
Yeah.
nothing to do. So I really made that a priority. There was like a local park by me. I like took a ball, I did ball work, I did shooting. I just tried to like stay active every day.
Yeah. That's also one advantage with soccer is, you could just find a field and, work on your touches where, I know certain towns were taking down basketball hoops so kids wouldn't go to parks. So, if you
Yeah,
didn't have a hoop at home, it was tough. How old were you when you first started playing soccer?
I was four when I started rec.
Right. And did Middletown, is that where you started?
St. Mary's.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did you play any other sports when you were younger?
I tried every sport out there just to try and see like what I liked.
Hmm.
But I never was like a multi sport kind of kid.
Yeah.
I kind of just like picked the one I liked the best and I stuck with it, and that was soccer.
What made you, fall in love with soccer? That was your sport.
I honestly was just like a goal scorer when I was little. So I think like I just like loved like being on the field and like making an impact.
And now, do you play up front for PDA or do you play defender like you do for Middletown?
Mostly defense.
Okay.
Right now, my coach is playing me anywhere in the midfield, like
Mm.
attacking mid and defensive mid, because like you kind of do both.
Yeah.
So
We'll talk, when we get into, this past season, you definitely proved that, you could put the ball in the net, even from the back, which is, good. Um, oh, oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
it's like,
Do you have any siblings?
yes, I have two older brothers. They're actually twins. Yeah,
Oh,
they're out in Cali.
California. Did they play soccer growing up or?
No, they weren't really like big sport kids, but they both ran. They were really good at running.
You said they're both out in Cali.
Yeah, they go to USC, Southern California.
Okay, very very nice, very nice.
Mhm.
Nice weather out there.
Very
I
nice.
went to California once, San Francisco, and it was nice, but it was raining all the time for some reason.
Yeah,
But
yeah. LA is very different. You should go
yeah.
out there.
I like to ask, players is what have your parents and your family have meant to you, because I know PDA is very time consuming, it costs money, you're driving all over, you're traveling all over the country with PDA. What have your parents meant to you as far as your development in soccer?
Like so much. Like they've been there like through it all. I've said that I've tried every sport. They've always been by my side. Like whatever I wanted to do, they were there. Like my dad really wanted me to like go above and beyond and try out for PDA. And I did, and he supported me every which way through it. And my mom and my dad, like originally, like no one by me joined PDA, so they had to drive me and like take time up of work. They just wanted to be there for me, like any step of the way.
That's great. My niece just tried out for PDA Shore 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she ended up making it. So we'll see.
Oh, that's really exciting.
Yeah, she Abby trained her a little bit during the summer. So
Abby Doherty.
yeah. So
Uh,
she loves. That's why I brought her to the second freehold game, your home game, and
oh,
freehold. And I was shocked because she does the training. That they do the Friday training for like anybody you could sign up, and the players were doing certain moves, and she was telling me what the moves are. I was like, oh, so you really do pay, I mean, you do pay attention when you're at these trainings, because she, her mind seems to wander, typical 8, 9 year old wanders away. So I
yeah.
was impressed. But yeah, um, yeah, she loves going to watch the high school girls play, and she can't wait to be there. She got confused that you could play high school and club soccer. She because she
Yeah.
asked one player what her number was, and she had two different numbers, and she was so confused by that. So I said, when you get older, that's going to be you. You're going to be playing on two different teams. Um, growing up, who was a role model or somebody that you looked up to? Could be celebrity, could be family.
Yeah, other than really my parents, I would say like Christy Rampone. A lot of people like say like Alex Morgan and like forwards like that, but obviously Christy Rampone was like such like a huge defender on like the U.S. national team. I went to like all of her camps. Like I met her. She's local, so definitely Christy Rampone.
When I got my coach's license for soccer, I watched her play at Monmouth. That
Oh
was
yeah.
my class, because the Monmouth coach at the time, he was the one doing the class, and I guess they scheduled it when he had a game, and so that was the
Oh.
that was the thing. We just went there, and I don't even remember what we had to do, like answer like two questions after it. I don't even know. I was young. I was 15 when I got my coach's license, so it was a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
So you stated you started playing soccer at 4. Do you remember who your first coach was?
Not my rec coach, but when I joined Middletown when I was like 7 or 8, when the team started, it was Jess Scavini and Mike Mascone.
Okay. How long were you on the Middletown team?
About 4 years, and
Mhm.
then it's the year rule came into play where you can only play with the year you were born.
Oh
Because
yeah,
when I was on Middletown, I could play with like I played with Katie Coyle actually. She's an
yeah.
03, I'm an 04. But then when that happened, like Middletown kind of just like ended, kind of like it kind of just broke down and everyone on the team left.
I remember when back when when I coached, it was always like U10, and now it's always they're going by the year, your birth year. And when I first got back into sports a couple of years ago, high school sports and everything, it confused me. I was like 12. I go, you 12? I was like
I know.
12. I was like, what? I go, so all right, it's good to know when they kind of did the switch where they went for the year, because basketball is kind of similar. They go by the year now and not your age. Um, when did you make the move to PDA?
When the rule changed. So I think that was 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 2015.
Um, who's your PDA coach?
Mick Smith.
Okay. Who are some of your teammates on your PDA team?
I can probably name a couple, like Leah Clerman, Scotch Plains, Nikki DiCaprio, Woodcliff Lake. I maybe like Tammy Silvestro. She plays with like Riley Tiernan
Okay.
On that team. But yeah.
It's just weird, back when, me growing up, you played with your town, and that was pretty, and, you would guest play like on the local, like the towns right next to you and stuff. And now, with all these club teams, you're meeting friends, and it has to be fun when, you're traveling, staying in the hotels and all that, bonding, especially, kids that, you didn't really grow up with, but, you just know and passing from soccer, and now they're on your team. That has to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's like just more friends, kind of like your life is kind of like separated. Like I have my like town friends and then my soccer friends, and they kind of just like, I feel like they're two different worlds like linking up when they meet, but it's cool.
Going into high school, you're going in as a freshman. What were some goals you set for yourself that you wanted to accomplish over 4 years?
I definitely just wanted to make an impact on the team. I didn't know what to expect. When I was in middle school, I didn't even think I would be able to play high school because I was in the DA league. So like they wouldn't let us play on high school. But then in 8th grade, I realized that I would be able to. And I remember that's when Coach Barry actually worked at Thompson, and I like saw her in the hallway, and I was like, I'm able to play like next year. And she was like so excited. And so basically I just wanted to make an impact, just try my best. I didn't know like what tryouts were going to be like. I didn't know if I was going to make varsity. So we're just taking it step by step.
Yeah, for people, I get asked this when I do soccer interviews, and basketball people, are listen to it. DA's Development Academy, and you weren't allowed to play on your school team, if you chose, and then they finally, allowed to switch. They allowed it, and when I interviewed, Laskauskas from St. Rose last year, I asked her, how tough was it? Because I know she was very happy to be able to, go back, and play with, you're playing with the kids you grew up with. So that had to be a good feeling when you found out you were going to be able to play with the kids you grew up with.
Yeah, PDA, obviously a club team is always like more competitive. It's very like stressful sometimes. And like high school is kind of just like a fun thing to be a part of. Like your hometown friends and your family come to watch you. Like they kind of just see like the way you play. And you never got to experience that.
Yeah. It's nothing like, your hometown, cheering you on, big game. I'll ask this. I like asking this, I asked this to the Toms River kids. Middletown is so strong with soccer, especially between South and North. Don't you think it stinks that, the teams are basically divided up, and, because if there was one team, I think Middletown, be almost unstoppable every year, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you grow up like with the separation and like the rivalry, which is always so fun. But definitely, if they ever had like a league where we linked up, I feel like we would be unstoppable.
Yeah, same Toms River, Brick's always strong in soccer, and they've always been divided. Recently, Jackson Liberty hasn't been around that long, but they're divided. I just like asking that to kids that have multiple high schools in the same district. Freshman year, I like to ask this question: who were some or upperclassmen that helped you if you had any issues or questions about certain things?
I was the only freshman to make varsity like full time, so I was really like by myself, and like people like Haley Nicholas and Philomena Di Gregorio, they really like they have very big personalities and outgoing personalities. They really like brought me in and make me feel like a part of the team, which was like a great way to like make the team like more connected and have more chemistry.
And I know it's nerve-wracking as a freshman, playing in high school, but had to be a little more, you being the only freshman, on the varsity team, right?
Yeah. I remember like going to tryouts and thinking like, what if I do make a varsity? Like, am I supposed to go to the pasta parties? Like, who am I gonna sit with? Like, I was like, maybe like I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, so it was a little nerve wracking, but it worked out well.
Pasta parties, that's a touchy subject in Middletown.
Oh.
It's funny. I interviewed somebody after that happened in the fall, and I think it was Abby Naj at RBC, and
Uh,
she brought up pasta party, like just she was just bringing it up, and I said the same thing. Oh, that's a touchy subject in the town over there, by
yeah.
um. So moving to so your freshman year, the team had like a so-so year, like right? Weren't they around 500?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a lot of pressure on us, and there was a big target on our backs coming from a state championship the year before. And then there was a lot of pressure for us as a team just to win and keep winning because like they made it so far, and
Yeah.
obviously like that did not happen. So yeah.
So that was a huge jump because we'll fast forward to your sophomore year. You go from 500 to 22-2, and your two losses, RBC and Ramapo, right? I mean, those are two state powerhouses. They're always up there. So that's a pretty significant jump. That's a little bit. See, I didn't check the year before you were there, but that's a roller coaster right there.
Yeah.
State, and then you go 500, and then you have the team, dominant team your sophomore year. So how did it feel to be a part of something like that, and being a part of such an improvement record rise?
It was very exciting. We had obviously I'd said that my freshman year we had a target on our backs, and then coming from my freshman year, which we didn't do as well, like the target was off our backs. So I don't think anybody really expect anything from us. I think the difference between freshman year and sophomore year though was definitely our team chemistry and like our team dynamics. I feel like we just like worked so much better together, and the girls we brought up who were freshmen at the time, we brought them in and we made sure they felt comfortable. I feel like that really like impacted us in that play, but honestly that just like went towards our success.
What were some goals you set for yourself personally your sophomore year?
Well, freshman year, like Coach Barry and Coach Smith put a lot of like trust in me because I like was a starting center back next to Philomena. I was just only a freshman. This was going to be my last year playing next to Philomena because she was a senior.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to like, I don't know, just be like a solid back line, just like let nothing through, like trying to be like more solid than the year before. Obviously like our goals were to like win the division, win the state, make it to groups. And obviously that's what we did.
Now she, she was one of the best defenders in the state her senior year. What is something she was able to teach you, that you were able to carry on?
I said when I was a freshman, she made me feel so welcome, and she's such a bubbly personality, big personality that we like still miss to this day. She really taught me like how to be a leader in the back line. Especially like this year, like being a junior captain and like her leaving and like me having the back line to like coach the way she did. I feel like I really like learned from her leadership.
That's great. And her senior year, your sophomore year, that was probably the best back line in the shore. It was solid. Now, unfortunately, I got to see the RBC shore conference game. Because I really didn't. Your sophomore year, I really didn't branch out like I did this past season, seeing a lot of teams. But yeah, RBC struggled, finally, put it in the net against that back line, get anything moving. There's a couple games I want to talk about your sophomore year. First, the two RBC games, both were very tight, right? Was the first one overtime? You guys won in overtime?
It was overtime win, yeah.
So, just talk. What do you think during that game was able that you were able to pull it out in overtime?
We studied them a lot before the game. We kind of knew where their strengths and weaknesses were. I feel like we did really well, like through the whole regulation. We just like it was kind of like back and forth. It was kind of even. Like I feel like we had more heart. Like that's kind of it. Like when we went into overtime, we knew we had to end it fast. I think it was like just 2 minutes in, Lara Brennan just scored the winning goal, and it felt so great.
And then the short conference semis, that was 2-0, right?
Yeah, 2-0.
2-0. It was a hard fought game. That game, to me, your team didn't get a lot of opportunities on the offensive lane. That RBC was just you could tell they were pissed that they lost that first game.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like they thought they were going in to win it because I think they were coming off a good season so far, but we were also undefeated. But we showed up and it didn't go our way. It's fine, but
Um, you played Wall before that game, right? Was Wall or right in
No,
the short game?
it was after because Wall was, I think,
States was Wall
it was
States.
States. Yeah.
Okay. Talk that game because I was going to go to that game, but I think um they changed the time. It started early because I ended up going to Freehold and somebody sent me that Wall was leading at the time, and I was like, oh, I thought the game started like at 4, and it was like only 3 o'clock. Just talk because that was a back and forth game, right? That Wall game,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Wall because I saw Wall at the beginning of the year, and they were a completely different team at the end of the year. Like they were playing at a very high level. So you caught Wall. They were playing some of their best soccer. So just go through that game for me because I wasn't there. And
Yeah, obviously, the time did change. I don't know if it was because of the weather, but I know it was raining really hard. So like
yeah, I
everything was
think that's why.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, everything was off. Like the turf was just like
Mhm.
so bouncy, so like skippy. They were really intense. They were really physical. It was a great game, honestly. It was like a ping pong match. It was like back and forth. Like obviously they scored first. We only had like one loss at the time, but we knew
Mhm.
this was States. It was like either you win it or you lose.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, like to end it, like Andrew Shecky and just scored the winning goal, and it was just like the best feeling ever, knowing that like we could just lock down the back line and we were in the lead, and then ended off winning.
Those games are always fun, but especially when you're on the right side come postseason, it's just so much emotion. Talk to you girls won North Jersey. It's Group 3, right? Group 3 against Cranford, which Cranford's they've been a powerhouse since I was in high school. And ironic, I think Middletown North defeated Cranford the year before to win
Yeah,
the sectional. So how did it feel, after you bouncing back from a 500 season to winning the sectional?
well, actually, like before the Cranford game, I talked about Leah Clerman. She's on Scotch Plains. They played Cranford, so I got like insight from her. I was like asking like about like the players and stuff, and she was telling me about them. Like this one girl had like a huge throw. I know like could make it into the box. Like that's something I like we had to watch out for.
Yep.
But it was just like such a great game. It was like hard fought. We knew that they would bring it, but like we were very confident. We only had one loss at the time.
Yep.
It would be on our home turf because we were like the top seed, like left. And I don't know. It just I feel like the emotion, and we had like all of our friends and families on the sideline cheering for us. Like the whole school like was there. Basically, it was just very exciting.
Yeah, that's why I say nothing beats high school sports. Soccer, basketball. I don't follow football anymore, but football. Um, the next game was Ramapo. But I know you girls lost, but you didn't make it easy for them, and they were one of the top teams in states. Was that up in Ramapo?
That was at Ramapo.
Was that changed? Because I remember they did like there was a snowstorm coming, and they changed locations of all the games and stuff.
Yeah, we were the number one seed, so it was supposed to be at our home turf, and then because which is on and off, and then when they said it was going to be there, we like really fought hard to like get it at a neutral site at least, but it obviously didn't go our way, so that was kind of in our heads, like knowing that they would have their fans, like their home turf, like have that step above us, but I don't know. We showed up. It was a freezing game.
Yep.
It was definitely like a wall game. It was like back and forth. I think that was like the best team we played like all season. They had like some great midfielders. Like I know like Mary Cochran, like she's on my PDA team. She played there. She scored the first goal. But I feel like we really like fought to the end. It was kind of back and forth, but at the end it didn't go our way. But I'm glad we got to win the division. I meant win the division and states.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great season, and talking to everybody, about that Ramapo game, you girls left everything on the field, so that's all you could ask for. Jump into this year. Did you think this season was going to happen with COVID and everything?
I had no idea. I had no idea what to expect. We usually start captain's practices in June, and obviously we couldn't do that. And the preseason even got pushed back to September when we were supposed to be starting our season.
Yep.
We got told that our season was going to be cut down, so we just went into it every practice, every game as if it was going to be our last. And I feel like we really brought it as much as we could.
Yeah, everybody, Middletown, that both you and North, had a rough ending to the season, but That was a good outlet, like and nobody knew because it was such crazy times, especially start of school year, nobody knew what was going on. Did you find it difficult? They rolled out those phases in the preseason, and then they told school starts. They said, all right, you got to shut down for 2 weeks before you can get back at it. Was that tough? Did you find that tough? You're practicing for how many weeks, and then you got to stop for 2 weeks, and then you got to get right back into it, and you got games later that week.
I honestly felt bad for the freshmen coming because they didn't get to experience captain's practices and like color wars, which is like a fun thing that we do, and like regular preseason. Like the whole time I was like, I know some freshman girls, and I was just like, you have no idea, like please come back. Like I know that might not be fun with all like the masks and the whatever, but I just felt bad, but we made the best of it. And yeah.
What was, I know in basketball, I see it a lot, from sophomore to junior year, I see, the biggest jumps in improvement. What was something you wanted to improve on from your sophomore year to junior year?
Before the season, our coaches like bring us all in and they're like, what do you want to achieve next year? And basically it's the same thing. You always want to achieve the best, like win the division, win the states, win the groups. But this year was different because we didn't know what we were going to get. So obviously I wanted to go in and make it the best that we could, because obviously we lost a lot of players. I think we had like 6 or 7 seniors. We lost our goalkeeper and like midfield and attacking and part of our defense.
You leading scorer too, right? You leading scorer graduated.
Yeah, Emma Laudisi, she graduated. So obviously we didn't know how the team was going to look. And for the beginning of COVID, like we couldn't even do contact.
Yep.
So when we were able to start the game, like we were kind of like behind on chemistry. But I really think that like the team dynamic, like obviously not playing, but like off the fields, it really like put into play trying to make up for lost time.
Yeah. People don't, because all players could work on their touches and stuff, but the chemistry is, the best teams have the best chemistry. There's another question. So one coach said, when you had that 2 weeks off before the season, he said, he goes, that first day he was like, we're going to play games, we're going to scrimmage against each other, because I'm tired of seeing them doing touch drills and cardio, and I'm sure they're tired of me yelling at them to do. It was one of the preseason interviews I did with one of the coaches. So the players weren't the only ones that were hurting on just doing the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
I want to talk 2 games. The freehold games. I was at both. The first one, you girls battled back. You end up getting the equalizer with 3 minutes? I think 3 minutes left in regulation.
Yeah, it was like five minutes left.
Yeah. And then you put in the game winner, a couple minutes into overtime. How did it feel? Because Freehold to me was one of the best teams in the Shore. How did it feel, coming back and, at their home field, not giving up, putting in the equal, you personally putting the equalizer in, and then the game winner?
Freehold is always like very competitive, especially with us. It's actually funny because our assistant coach Coach Smith, he went to Freehold Township and coached at Freehold Township before going to South. And he said ever since he came to South, he has never won a game on Freehold's turf.
Oh.
Because the year before we lost too. So obviously we wanted to win for him, and obviously wanted to like stay undefeated. But just like getting that, because we originally scored first. Jen Schuster scored, and apparently there was some interference with the goalie like during that goal.
I don't know if you saw, I had a good video shot.
You did? Yeah, I remember watching that.
Because I questioned it, but everyone said it was a good call. Like people outside the Shore, like soccer people, it was a good call. So I was like, all right, people I trust.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm
I know you're on the opposing side. You thought it was a call.
Yeah. But obviously that set us back. But we scored like early in the game. Like Jen put that in early, so we were very confident. But then they ended up scoring, so we were down the whole game. They put up a good fight, but I feel like we did too. We just didn't get a lot of options, and then time was ticking, and like we got that foul, and I feel like we had so much momentum that like it really took us like to the end.
Yep. And I thought both freehold games, I thought the first half they outplayed you. And then the second half, both games, I thought it wasn't even really, I know the second game you guys didn't win, but the second half, both games, I felt like your team was, dominant. You like dominating the control and the pace of the play, which is impressive. Just Frio's a tough team. They're just loaded with talent. Up and down. Talk that second game. You scored. They didn't score in overtime, right? The second game was it?
It was like the same type of game as the first one, except scored in overtime.
Like 24 seconds left though in the first overtime. Yeah, that was tough. Just so it just seems like that. Like you two have good good games. I know when the schedules came out, that was the matchup that I circled first was Middletown South and Freehold, and the two games did not disappoint. I want to talk. Katie Coyle. To me, she was my player of the year this past season. What is something she taught you? And I know you've known her for a while. You've gotten to play with her, when you were younger too. So just talk, what she's taught you over the years.
That's a funny question because like obviously when I thought about it, I've known Katie Coyle before she was Katie Coyle. Like it's funny that like she's so big now. But obviously like she just like always brought it, like the intensity level. Everyone is kind of just like wants to match it. Like you want to like be able to play with her and be on the field with her. It's just like a great experience.
What first time I saw your team play was your sophomore year, her junior year, and like I was like blown away. Watching her, because she is one of those players that like you said, she brings it, and she's so impressive. Like I don't know what game it was. It might have been the Freel game, or I don't remember what game it was because I saw your team quite a bit last season, and she was just looking like she wanted to set someone up, and she just shot it from 35 yards out, and it went in.
Yeah.
Like she's such, and she's a smart player too. Last question I want to ask about last season. What was how did you feel personally with the disappointment that Middletown shut athletics down right when postseason was about to happen?
Making it so far with like the thought that we couldn't even have a season. Obviously we made it really far, but it was very disappointing knowing that we could continue the season and ultimately win states with the bracket we were put in. Yeah. Just like knowing that the seniors couldn't like fulfill the season that they could have had if it wasn't for COVID, it was very disappointing. But obviously like we had a great season. We made it as far as we could, and
yeah, it just it stinks. The teams do everything right. The players. I talk to parents, and they say my daughter hasn't left the house all season because she doesn't want to be the one. And I know that's true with all the teams throughout the the shore, most of the state. So it just stinks that something out of your control, everybody's control, and it happened that way. But moving on, hope next season, things are starting to look better. So
yeah.
I like to ask that, next year you're going to be a senior, you were captain this year. What are some things you hope to pass down to the underclassmen, the incoming freshmen and, the girls that are going to be sophomores next year?
Like I said before, like just being inclusive, like team chemistry is like such a big thing. And I think having someone doing it to me helped me out through my career. And like, I definitely made it a point to like help bring the underclassmen in too. I just hope they like maintain that and keeping everyone inclusive, just like to build team chemistry and the team dynamics is just like the biggest thing.
That's how programs start and how they stay consistent. Is when you get, coached with the gets the buy-in from the upperclassmen and they pass it down to the underclassmen and they just keep rolling it over. And then, the teams will always be successful. Talking about Coach Barry, what are some things she's taught you, over the past couple seasons?
When I made varsity, she told me that like I remind her a lot of herself. She played at South, and like she like was a big impact. We kind of like play the same. Like we're kind of like the same personality. Like we get along so well. Like I'm so close with her. She definitely put a lot of like trust in me, and she like taught me how to like believe in myself, being like a freshman and then being a starter next to Philomena and having that responsibility on my shoulders.
Yeah, I got to interview her preseason, and she seems like a fun coach. And I see the things, she post, like you said, some of the things you do in the off season that the freshmen have to miss out. I saw some of the things that, during practices you were able to do that she posted. And, it just seems like she likes to try to create a fun atmosphere too, which is good. You up for some rapid questions before we wrap this up?
Definitely, yeah.
All right. What's your favorite movie?
Probably Super Bad.
Okay. Favorite TV show?
The Bachelor.
Favorite food?
Chicken parm.
Chicken parm. That's a good choice. Favorite subject in school?
Right now, AP Human Geography.
Oh God, I don't like anything with dope letters AP in front of it. What's your favorite number?
4.
4. Is that your number, Middletown?
Yeah, that's my number for South and PDA.
Okay. That was another thing. My niece was confused that she asked to play it, and she's like, two different numbers. Like, well,
I know, yeah. I wanted to make sure that I had the same number, so it wasn't
good. That's good. Last one for this. What is something you enjoy doing when you're not playing soccer?
I actually enjoy hiking. My dad's a really big hiker. He hiked all of the 46 high peaks in New York or whatever. But anytime he invites me to go out hiking, I love to do that.
That's good. I used to enjoy hiking. Now I don't really do much of anything these days, but hiking's fun and all that stuff. Camping and all that. Talking to your future, what are some things you're looking at, when you're looking at colleges, like location, size, that kind of stuff?
Not necessarily anything with location or size. I could end up anywhere. Definitely team atmosphere, team chemistry, academics, obviously, coaching style, looking at all of that.
Do you know what you want to study when you get to college?
I'm undecided right now. I have no idea.
Yeah, I tell some players are afraid to say that, but coaches understand. Like when I was in school, kids change their majors 3-4 times while they're in college. So, so you're undecided major. Any idea or any idea what you want to do after college? Or I mean, it's tough when you're undecided, but.
No, I haven't really been thinking about it. I have many different varying interests, so I could end up doing anything really.
What are some of those interests, if you don't mind?
I'm interested in communication. I love obviously my favorite subject is AP Human Geography. Just anything about I don't know really.
Last question. If you could give yourself advice when you were younger, what would it be?
Just never underestimate myself and try and put myself out there more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that a lot. Be more. Kids say be more confident. Realize their ability and stuff, and put themselves out there. So it's a good answer. Megan, I appreciate you taking time out today and joining me. And I'm hoping when they let more than just parents at PDA, I could get up there and because I get all the streaming links from Abby's mom and when Shore streams to PDA Shore, I get their links. So soccer is my first love when it comes to sports. So I'm hoping to be able to get up there when they start letting some other outside fans in to watch.
Yeah, definitely, of course.
And then definitely I'll see you Middletown South on the field next season. So all right, Megan, thank you for joining me. Have a good day, and good luck in the spring season with PDA.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.